Right, are you ready for some drama? Welcome to my top 21 most painful tech fails of the entire decade. From just inadequate to catastrophic. Spoiler alert, this is the first time we've ever had a 10 out of 10 fail on one of these lists. Okay, so in 2018, LG revolutionized the way that humans interacted with robots. Just not in a good way. I was actually sitting here in this crowd when they showed to the world LG Chloe, one robot to manage your entire home. And never in my life have I seen excitement turn into so much cringe I want to disappear into my chair this quickly.
Am I ready on my Washburn cycle?
He asked a question to it, and for 5 of the longest seconds of my entire life, the whole audience just sat there, eyes wide, waiting to see what this next generation of robots was about to do. We're still waiting, but it only started to get really awkward when he then tried again for a second time.
Chloe, what's for dinner tonight?
Fair play to the guy on stage. He tried to play it off like the robot was just angry at him, but by the time he got blanked for the 3rd time...
Chloe, are you talking to me yet? What recipes could I make with chicken?
The entire audience was just laughing. So I'm giving LG Chloe a 2 out of 10 on the failed scale. Now, when I say the word smartphone to you, what do you think of? Some sort of rectangular glass sandwich, right? Well, the Runcible is what you get when you defy that convention. Or really, to be more specific, it's what you get when you defy every convention. It was world's first circular smartphone. It ditched glass construction for wood. It was even fully user upgradable for sustainability. It's just, it couldn't make phone calls. If you look at the small print on the website, they refer to it as a very small tablet. Which is fine, but what kind of tablet content am I going to consume on a 2.5-inch circular display? 2 out of 10. Anyways, did you know that in 2016, Microsoft created a Twitter account that used artificial intelligence to learn how to talk like a human? They called her Tay, and they said to people, the more you talk to her, the smarter she becomes. Well, in 24 hours, Tay was tweeting some of the most horrific racial slurs on the platform. When she was created, she started off by saying humans were super cool and how she was stoked to meet us. But in less than 1 day, she was trying to start a race war. I'm not even exaggerating. She was swearing, she was quoting Hitler. Because she was learning from every single conversation, the wider population started abusing that, teaching her to say things which were just completely out of order. Tay was sophisticated enough to pick up how humans talked, but she wasn't sophisticated enough to know when she was being led on. And so within 24 hours of being up, Tay was cancelled, which feels like a pretty good general summary of Twitter right now. And a pretty alarming example of why we've got to be so careful with how much power we give to AI. So pretty easy 3 out of 10 fail for this one. And by the way, this video was sponsored by Huel. Got something pretty cool to show you at the end for this. Okay, in late 2019, a very excited Elon Musk walks on stage to show the world Cybertruck. Can you imagine being in this audience with no idea what's coming, no leaks, no images, and then watching as this thing rolls onto stage? People were going wild. I've never seen this many audience members trying to take a photo at the exact same time. The only slight hitch, though, was that they spent a good portion of this event talking about how strong the Cybertruck was. They said it had a virtually impenetrable exoskeleton. They said the glass was practically bulletproof, except when they actually tested it,
Oh my God.
they broke it. And they then did what seems to be a common theme here. They tried again. They picked up the same ball, this time threw it at the rear window, and they broke that too. And of course, this clip became the most viewed video about the Cybertruck by a long shot. There are still plenty of people who are excited about this car, but that was awkward. Okay, let's do a rapid fire round for Google here. 3 fails, 3 minutes. Let's go. So first of all was the Nexus Q. It was a media streamer, basically a way for your phone to display content on your TV. Think Chromecast, only worse. It was wildly expensive at $300. It could only stream Google content like Google Play Music, which is also dead, and the New York Times described this as wildly overbuilt for its limited functions, which is not the kind of review that any brand wants. But even more disappointing was Google Glass, because unlike the Nexus Q, which just kind of came out of nowhere and then flopped, people were excited about Glass. Google made trailers like this, showing us the world that we were about to step into. They showed 4 people wearing Glass jumping out of a plane, whilst all still having a Google Hangouts chat. However, There is such thing as being too early. Google was trying to merge the digital and the physical worlds before the tech was really able to. And so for almost everything it could do, it just had a massive asterisk next to it. You can probably imagine then that this whole concept of dropping $1,500 to effectively beta test a product that did everything your phone did but worse, did not sit well with the average consumer. And the final Google blunder, at least for this video, is Stadia. I remember watching this thing get announced. This whole idea of you being able to just watch some gameplay on YouTube, and if you like the look of it, click one button and jump into that game yourself. All being powered by your internet browser with no downloads and no console needed. I remember nearly spitting my drink out all over my keyboard because, whoa. It's just, trying to stream a game has a lot more complications than trying to stream a movie or a song. Most notably, input lag. Think about it, for every single time I press a key on my controller, that command has to be transmitted wirelessly to my computer. It's then got to find its way all the way towards the servers that are hosting this game, which were often not close at all, process that command to produce an output, and then send that next frame all the way back down to my computer so that I can see what's happening next. Or to put it in a more visual way, this is kind of what the gameplay looked like, and this is on a high-speed internet connection. Input lag was only one of Stadia's many problems, but we do need to cover other things in this video too, like the Wii U. Whew, made it. Thank you. You remember the Wii, right? That console, even though it was about as powerful as my fridge, it changed gaming forever. It was the first time that I'd ever seen 3-year-old kids playing the same games as their 70-year-old grandparents, with both groups loving it. So it's kind of crazy that Nintendo could go straight from highs like this to lows like this. 6 years after the Wii, they decided it was time for its next-gen successor. A console that you could just play normally on your TV, but also with the option to play the entire games using just this new controller with its built-in screen, so other people could use the TV at the same time. I don't think it was a terrible idea, it's just it was executed with all the elegance of a Galaxy Note 7 moments before explosion. There were plenty of issues, but I'd say the primary culprit is just the fact that they called it the Wii U. What does that even mean? And more importantly, doesn't that just make it sound like it's an add-on for the existing Wii? Even CNN's first impressions article of the Wii U called it a solid accessory. That's the equivalent of saying the PlayStation 5 is a solid accessory to the PlayStation 4. CNN! So, easy 5 out of 10 fail here. The Wii U was a colossal flop. And to be honest, if Nintendo hadn't turned things around with the Switch that came after, this could have been the beginning of the end for them. But, as we've learned from these videos, you can always do worse. So, in 2012, this little box was going viral. Imagine this lady telling you that she was creating a console, called the Ouya, that for just $99 could play tens of thousands of games, including Minecraft, platformers, shooters, mostly for free. You'd be pretty excited. I mean, just the idea of a console at that kind of price is unheard of. And so it's almost not surprising that Ouya became the second most funded project on Kickstarter, with almost $9 million behind it. But when Ouya finally shipped, it became very clear that its biggest perceived strength was also kind of its biggest weakness. Because it was based on Android, yes, you were getting tens of thousands of games. But what was kind of glossed over was the fact that these were fundamentally games made for phones. At the time, in 2012, very few of them had good controller support. Most of them were just kind of cheaply made with in-app purchases. Plus, when you blow up games that were made for a 4-inch 2012 phone screen to a 40-inch TV, people quickly realized that even calling this a current-gen console was really a push. Alrighty, now for the smart home. Or, in this case, the not very smart home. Picture this, it's 2013, Sony's just announced the PlayStation 4, people are showing off their iPhone 5Cs, jokes on them really, and you feel like making a change in your life. Well, lucky for you, Juicero has come up with a machine that can squeeze you your very own fresh fruit juices, if you buy the machine for $700, and then pay a subscription to get these sachets of cut-up fruit to use with it. Do you want to know the funny bit though? You didn't need the machine. Bloomberg posted a 1-minute video showing how they could actually get the exact same juice but faster by squeezing the sachets by hand. And this 1-minute video pretty much brought down the entire operation. And if you are enjoying this video, then a sub to the channel would be juicy. But now is where it starts to get dangerous. There's a company called June. They make smart ovens, and they have genuinely turned what can often be a pretty gross appliance into a piece of art. But people quickly found out that their June ovens, at least the first generation of them, could spontaneously turn themselves on and start heating up. Imagine sitting in your bed at 2 AM in the middle of the night, and suddenly your oven just randomly hits 200 degrees Celsius in the kitchen below, with no one there to oversee it. That's kind of scary. If there was any food still left in there, or even really scraps from past meals, that could be enough to start a house fire. June did fix this with a software update, but yikes. You know what's a level above that? The Amazon Ring security system. No, literally, a security system that puts people at risk. Good job, Amazon. See, what happened was these cameras allowed users to fully see and hear what's happening in any room at any time. And sure, that's incredibly useful. But because such high-level access was only protected by a simple username and password, they could be hacked. Imagine just sitting there in your living room with your family when all of a sudden you hear a voice coming through your security camera.
Pay this 50 Bitcoin ransom or else you will get terminated yourself right now.
And you realize that this entire time, someone's been watching you. It sounds like something straight out of a horror movie. And what makes this worse is that these hackers would threaten and sometimes even blackmail the families they were looking at. There was one famous incident where there was an old lady in an apartment and a voice said to her, "Tonight you die." Oh yeah, and also the Amazon Ring smart doorbells, the accompanying product to the cameras, they started spontaneously bursting into flames. So, quite the duo. I mean, obviously this wasn't Amazon's fault, and they did address it with a software update, but what a horrendous oversight. Okay, do you remember when Segways and hoverboards were like the coolest thing on the planet? How it finally felt like we'd figured out a solution to walking. Where did they go? Well, we found out the hard way that Segways were dangerous. You lose focus for just 1 second and you're either in a ditch, a road, or you've already knocked someone over. Even the President of the United States was seen falling off one of these. And this right here shows when a cameraman managed to plow straight into Usain Bolt, the world's fastest sprinter. Or at least he was before that. It's actually kind of sad. You know, the owner of the Segway company in 2010, he actually drove a Segway off a cliff and he died. You know, I was actually going to make an entrance to this video on a Segway, but then